Mastering music, mastering music. Welcome to Mastering Music. My name is Petronella Turin, and today we have a fantastic episode. It is isolation time and we have time to listen to podcasts, so a little bit good in this dark time. So I also am editing a lot of podcasts, so I'm gonna try to release everything I have in my little library that is waiting for me to edit. So keep tuned, and you can do that by looking at the Facebook page Mastering Music, and then I also of course upload everything on iTunes and Spotify and Acast, the places where podcasts exist, and on my webpage www.masteringmusic.com. There you also find all the links to all the artist music, to YouTube videos, to web pages, everything about the artists that are in the podcast. So that's something that keeps you occupied for a while. And if you like the podcast, please screenshot that you're listening to it and tag me, Swedish cellist Petronella Turin on Instagram or Mastering Music on Facebook, and I will be so happy and so grateful. That would mean so much for me. So thank you so much for sharing this podcast to people, so more people can learn and get inspired by the music. That is the whole point with the podcast. Thank you. Now I'm gonna tell you about a fantastic man that I go way back with. He was one of the first person who made me love music, because this guy has so much energy. He is amazing. He's a conductor and a percussion player. His name is Ulf Wadenbrandt, and we are going to follow his story. He went from being a music teacher in the normal local music school to becoming the boss of the music school, and then to becoming an international famous rock conductor. He is actually, I wouldn't put him in only rock music, because he's playing all kinds of music and every genre that you can imagine. He is incredible. He went from music teacher who wanted to do something good for his students. He wanted them to get inspired by good artists, so he invited them to play with his youth orchestra, and he became really good at being a conductor, and in the end, now he's the principal guest conductor for the Russian Philharmonic Orchestra. I mean, amazing, and a very, very international known conductor. When he comes to conduct in Russia, they have to have cravel fences so people don't run over him, because actually when they see him, they get really excited and want to speak to him and be close to him. He also has his own calendar and this what is it called, like rings that keyrings. Yeah, keyrings that you have on your keys. Oh my god, yeah. I wish I had that. Okay, so in Sweden, he's a little bit more known for playing with professional orchestras like Sweden Symphony Orchestra, that is Ulf's own orchestra. And then he's playing with the Norrköping Symphony Orchestra, the Dala Symfonietta. He's also played with he also plays with amateurs orchestra, so it's every kind of orchestra in the whole country. I think he has been through a lot of them, okay? But so that's really nice. He doesn't really exclude anyone. He only include people and orchestras. And artists that he has been playing with is the number, and the list is very long, but I picked out a few names that are a little bit more international so everyone can relate. So Robert Wells is one of them. He's a very, very virtuose pianist. And then you have E-Type, Agnes Carlsson, Loreen, who won the Eurovision. And then you have Peter Jöback, who's a famous musical singer. And then also Elena Paparizou. Just to say a few, okay? And Mastering Music is free to listen to, but not to make. So if you want to contribute to making this podcast, please go to my webpage www.masteringmusic and look for a little icon with Buy Me a Coffee, and you can give me €3. That is something small that will help me keep going through these hard times, to make new episodes, because I travel to different countries. I was in Sweden in January and in Denmark, and I try to make it the best kind of content that is possible. And I think in these dark times we could really need some advice and support. So this episode is from January, so we are not going to talk about Corona. Maybe that's nice to just get a Corona-free song. I'm going to start the episode now. I hope you enjoy it as much as me. He talks about how to get sponsors. He's really good at getting sponsors. He talks about how to build a good orchestra. He gives some really good tip in how to make an orchestra listen to you and respect you. He also talks about being famous and what it can do to you. And also he talks about how to handle bad criticism and all of these things that we have around us as musicians. So enjoy an amazing episode with Ulf Wadenbrandt. We are going to listen to Hungarian Rhapsody with Dmitry Malakov on the piano and Robert Wells also on the piano, and the Russian Philharmonic Orchestra playing, and Ulf Wadenbrandt as conductor.
Welcome to Master Music, Ulf Wadenbrandt.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're actually in your office almost. We are in Trollhättan. It's a city in Sweden next to a very big lake called Vänern. Also big companies come from Trollhättan, like Volvo and Saab. But we are sitting in your office called like N3 actually, and it's the culture school here, or music school in Trollhättan.
Correct. It's a new building here. It's fantastic.
It's really fancy, really nice.
With lots of it's for young kids and students that wants to make a future with culture. So
yeah, and you have dancing and more art than only music in this school.
Yeah, it's painting, it's movie, it's dancing. Maybe I said it already. It's theater, it's music. So it's a lot of stuff here. It's a fantastic place to be for young people that wants to check out these things or maybe work with it in the future.
So what do you work with when you're here? What do you do a day in Entry?
I work here half of my time. At Entry, I work with symphony orchestra. I have the Entry Symphony Orchestra. I work with students, percussion students. And I also work with some kind of sponsorships with the school. That's my work here.
Yeah, actually, you're really good with sponsors. I saw your webpage and I was like, how many sponsors do this guy have? You know, I saw some glass company called Seoptik. I saw a car company and percussion company. And what more?
Clothes.
Clothes, clothes. I saw.
Bags when I travel.
Bags.
It's lots of stuff. I need to check my website. But
so what is your best tips to get sponsors? I mean, the $1 million question for all musicians.
Okay.
How do you get sponsors?
I just want to correct one thing, and it's when I work here at Entry, I also work with sponsorship for the school. So we have some kind of big sponsors here. And my private career as a conductor and as a musician, I have lots of sponsors also. So speak about sponsoring and musician. It's very interesting because for some of the musicians, it's not popular to have sponsor. It's little. You should just be musician and nothing else. But
you suffer for the art.
Yeah. I think they are lost. But okay. The main thing is here to build a brand, to be good, to be a good musician, to also connect with people. You need to like to connect with people, and everything is connected. You know, when I do concert and so I just don't do it on stage. I speak to people. I speak to audience. It's also part of the work to do other stuff than just standing on the stage. And for
you're
me,
really active on the stage. You're jumping, you're running around, you're headbanging.
I have maybe some illness. I don't know. I can't stand still. But mainly about if we go to the thing is sponsorship. You need to work with connections. Everything is connected. You need to work with a brand, to make a strong brand. Whatever you are, whatever you're working with, you need to have some brand that people want to connect with. Something that, is interesting for the company to get something back, because they don't just give things away. You need to
have a win-win,
have a win-win, or have some interesting you can give them, or be connected with some special thing. And
can you give an example of a win-win?
I think with the glasses, for example, my company that I work with, they are very recognizable on every photos in media, in papers, in videos, in pods. If we take photos,
and you really need to use glasses. Right?
I can't live without them nowadays. I start to get older, so I need it, and that's a natural connection. For example, or percussion instrument, I just use that percussion instrument, or clothes on stage. My suit is best, and it's a brand that I always use, and it's on. People see it on pictures and so on. So it needs to be natural. It needs to be. I like to work with it. Some people don't like to work with it, but I really love to have this. It's a part of my work, not just to be a musician or conductor. It's to connect with people, and all this together is making this work very interesting.
And it is really important. I mean, for me, it's very important what I'm wearing. Especially like as a cellist, you don't want to have a too short skirt, or you want to be comfortable. But at the same time, you have to look good. And very often, a symphony orchestra, you have to have black clothes, for example, because then the lighting is more effective on your face. And it is a challenge to make a lot of people fit into the same clothes, actually.
It's big. And you should feel comfortable and all this kind of stuff. But I just like to work with this, and I think you need to.
So when you start a sponsorship, do you call them or do they call you?
It's differently. It's differently. It's really differently. Mostly they come to me, but in some cases I also connect with them because I think it's a good win-win situation. And nowadays, for me, it's in the start of the career, it was of course hard to get this connection, but now everything is running. But you need to keep it's like a marriage, you know.
Yeah.
You need to make it grow and make it good all the time. You can't just get things and then drop the source you get the thing from. You need to always it's like to have a good marriage, I want to say, is to give something back. Be interested in what they're developing, and then they need to be interested in what we do, and do it like teamwork. Yeah.
So you seek sponsorship also with something that you like.
Yeah, I don't go for cigarettes or some stuff that I don't use. You need also to be comfortable. You don't. In my case, I don't know how others do it, but I go for things that I like, and of course I need. And for a win-win situation, it should be good for both parts. And the brands knows what they want. It's not just to get and pick things. So, but it's interesting, and I think that this is also connected to, maybe I steal your question, I don't know what we'll speak about everything, but it's a little also about, this is connecting with your education, I think, because when you study as a musician, sometimes you finish this graduation, you have no idea how you should go on, how will I get work, where should I work,
exactly.
In symphony orchestra. And this is, if you're good on social things, if you're good to connecting and you build things in the way and try to get gigs, I think this is, for me, it's natural. But
it's essential, because no one will find you in your practice room. How amazing that would be if someone just knocked on your door while you're practicing, but they will not, because they don't know that you exist. And everyone will buy everything if they are offered the opportunity. At least that's my experience, and a lot of times people say, "Oh, you will never sell it," and I say, "Of course I will, because if I offer it in a win-win situation, of course it will be attractive, and people buy a lot of stuff that is not valuable, in my opinion. So why wouldn't they buy something that actually gives value?" And especially in our time when experience are so people want to show that they experience things. They want to have Instagram photos from their concerts. It's not so. It's getting less and less important with the things. It's more like, I'm doing this. They want to take pictures of their adventures.
Yeah, it's the situation in the world and this kind of stuff is changing so fast. Everything and what we put the most. I'm into it. And you know, we open up the world now in a way we have never done before, and you can see so well-skilled people everywhere.
Yeah.
Nowadays, and I like it also, because it's, of course, makes us more look what's happening in the world. But in Sweden nowadays, it's come shining for people from China, from Russia, from Netherlands, from everywhere in the world, and searching for symphony works. Back in the days, it was maybe Nordic countries that comes from, but now it's from everywhere. And you know, people are so skilled everywhere. And what is the difference if you have 100 standing in a row? What's the difference? Everybody sounds good.
Yeah.
How can you make difference?
Yeah.
What is the difference? Everybody have gone the same education, gone from the same teachers, blah, 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 have very good CV, but you need to have something else to make me interested, because most of them, if you have 1,000 that sounds the same or in the same level, you need to pick somebody for work. And what is the difference between these guys or girls or people? Yeah, you need to not be a copy of everybody, because then it's not interesting. In my case, I don't judge anybody, but how I look on music and how I look on musician, you need to find something that is unique.
Know yourself, maybe, because that's why you will find your brand.
Yeah, I think so. And when I speak to students and in my family, because I have 2 daughters that will be professional musicians.
Yeah, Ida and Lina.
Yeah, Ida and Lina. And one of the girls is now moving out in the world, and she's classically educated, or both, but they want to go another way. And I think it's we will never forget that music. We do music for fun. That's why we started. And maybe we'll go into this later, but we need to always have fun and don't lose why we started. And it's so much. Yeah, you need to be different, and that's why I'm sitting here maybe to speak about that. So,
I have a question about the sponsor. So you have a lot of things that helps you, But I noticed that you have very long hair, but you don't have any sponsors in the shampoo industry. So what's up there?
I think it's like because my hair is very standing at everywhere. So
you must use a lot of shampoos.
Yeah. Honestly, I never thought about shampoo. Maybe I should ask one brand there or something, because I have not been connected. That was a very good. I will check that out. But I never cut my hair nearly. So I stopped that for 2 years ago. I don't know why. But
you don't have time, or
I have time, but I think I will see how long it will grow. I don't know, but it's not so long. But anyhow, I was asked by hair cutting company to hairdresser to get sponsored by that. But I think they have hard to control me in that case, so I didn't pick up that one. They are really good, but the hair is one other thing. But it was interesting. It was very funny. I will think about this.
Shampoo.
Yeah, shampoo.
Maybe in the future we will see you.
Yeah, like the hockey player, Swedish hockey player.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, it's totally wrong with the hockey player. We should be Ulf.
Yeah.
He has the hair for it.
Good, I will check it out. Maybe I can get better control over it.
We are just putting it out there for all the shampoo companies.
Yeah.
Conditioner companies.
Call us.
This is Ulf's personal number.
Yeah.
That's a very good.
It was funny. I like this question. It was very fun. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about sponsor, but I know that you are traveling the world. You are conducting everywhere. It's Russia, it's Czechia, it's Sweden, it's everywhere, and every city in Sweden also. It's not only the big cities, and I kind of always admire that from you, because you don't exclude everyone. You include a lot of people and a lot of music, and I think that's a good word for you. You are including people, because I met you the first time when I was maybe 13 or 14 years old, and we were playing in Sundal Rock Orchestra in Brålanda, a very, very little place on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And you were always so kind and including everyone, and you said, yeah, come everyone, let's play together, and invited a lot of famous artists. And that was a big thing for me as a girl, to play with big artists, to be in the big orchestra together with all the different people who were very skilled, people who were maybe less skilled, were learning from the people with better skills. I wanted to ask you about, where does that attitude come from? Because a lot of musicians want to exclude people, you are not good enough, you cannot be in my orchestra, or no, I don't want to go there because it's not big enough for me. But where does that philosophy come from, to include people?
I don't know. I think it's in my kind of being as a person, because when you are together with good people, you also start to be better by yourself. And orchestra is some kind of, you need of course to practice, but back in the days when we were in that little city, it was also when my struggle was to catch also some famous artists that will work with these students, and the students will see that nothing is impossible. We do this on stage, and they start to practice, or you start to practice when all you was back in the day for doing this concert, and we were standing on stage and maybe in front of 1,500 people.
It was really a lot of people.
And I think that is to show people that nothing is impossible if you want to do it, and you can make your dream or do your stuff. And I think that's how I'm thinking, and together we will be stronger. And when you are in that age, you should see possibilities and not be put away. So that's my philosophy, and this year was one of my best in my life, I think, because it was very fun, and so I like it. And when you speak about, I work in big cities and also in small towns, and I work with professional symphony orchestra, I work with semi-professional orchestra, with teachers, students and amateurs in the same orchestra, and I work also with students orchestra. And I want versatility to do the different stuff, because the students give me so much energy. I also learn about, I'm now 51 years old, it's nothing. I feel like I'm 14, but it makes me more know what they listen to music.
Yeah.
I'm learn, and also I need to listen to that music, otherwise I'm cut off what's happening now. With the semi-professionals, they are also so very eager to do this stuff together. They want to learn and practice. And with the professionals, it always sounds good.
Yeah.
It always sounds fantastic, but the other, the students and the semi-professionals can nearly be as good as the professionals, because they don't do this full time. So they are, wow, I want to do this. And the professional is also, wow, but this is their work. It's like any work. You go to work. They have a passion, a really passion. They are fantastic. But this mix together is perfect for me. So, of course, I like to work with professionals. It's fantastic. It's some opportunity to do that. But I don't want to miss the other orchestras. It's make me feeling alive. I feel that I need to work harder. I need to maybe say how they should do it another way.
Maybe it's it's a little bit more difficult, or it's different, because an orchestra that is professional, that plays every week together a lot of hours, they already have a unity. But when you meet people who are not used to each other from different ages, you have to create that unity. And how do you do that? Because I know that you are really good at it. You can always unite people, and that's something that is really a great quality in a conductor.
It's much about social thing. It's not just as a conductor, it's like a team leader, I think. It's like, if we speak to entry symphony orchestra, they would say I'm bad on names because I forget sometimes. But when you come to a new orchestra, it's very important. I have a strategy that maybe many people have, is to learn names fast. It's to take connection before it. Take directly connection with the concertmaster. Learn the concertmaster. Speak a little before. If you have some difficult parts or something, go to one of the people that will have it. Meet them. Learn, speak. So it's no tense before you start. Just remember if it's a.
And you make a joke with them. You always joke.
I try to do jokes also to make them relaxed. And when I work with professional orchestras, I think I have 1 minute or something to convince them that I have control over the situation, because I have long hair, I look a little different than back in the days conductors do. Nowadays it's more to be different, but back in the days it was most older guys. They were strong how they wanted, and I don't look like that. So I remember when I come to Belarus, Belarus, White Russia. It was not anything special there, because it's same as other countries with the orchestra. But I just remember that moment. It was the presidential orchestra, the president's orchestra, and I saw on them that this guy, do we have control or not? And I think and then in that case you need to be very fast. You need to take control over the orchestra and show them that you're good on this. And after that, yes, everything is cool. But I remember back in the days, I touring 1 month in Russia and meet 15 symphony orchestras in 1 month. It was 1 day rehearsal, next day concert, 1 day rehearsal, next concert, and change the orchestra every day. And in that tempo, you need to have keys.
What did you do?
To make them fast. I think I'm good on it. Start with a high tempo, directly take a special piece that that is a little tricky. I do that, because then I need to work. They think that, this is, because I did heavy metal with orchestras, and some of them, what the fuck, heavy metal, what is this? And I take the hardest piece and start with that. And everybody needs to work really hard, and I know exactly how I want it. They have no time to start thinking or doing stuff, and after that, this guy have control of the situation. And then you start to make a little easier.
Them busy.
Make people busy directly in that case. But I have different strategies.
It must be hard for, they are symphony orchestra people, so they don't know metal, because it's a completely different genre for them.
But the thing is, some of them really like this music privately, and the band that I work with was their fans when they were kids. So it's interesting, and somehow it's maybe a little louder, but heavy metal is a little the same as classical music, because it's lots of fast things.
And tempo
shifting and nice melodies when it's balanced, and so it's much equal stuff.
So make people busy is a good tip when you're taking over the orchestras. And for maybe people who are like orchestras that are a bit nervous, you can always make a joke and make contacts with them personally. and make sure that they know that you are not scary, but but you have control over the situation.
Yeah, I think it depends of the situation, and you need to be very flexible. It's to find people to get in right mood. That's the main thing, because we're going to the same goal, everybody, and make a good trip. This day I'm there. Make a good trip, have fun, and high quality.
Yeah.
And I think people don't play better when they are tense. They play better when they are loose in the minds.
Yeah.
But it's a lots of fantastic conductors. It's lots of fantastic musicians. It's a lots of fantastic orchestras everywhere. So I'm just happy to be part of this world. So
how did you end up here? Like traveling the world, conducting professional and non-professional orchestras. How did you end up here? Like, you were a drummer from the beginning, I know.
Yeah.
So where did it start? Like, how did you discover music?
My father is a drummer. He had his own band when he was back in the days, and it was back in the 60s, and he played some kind of jazz dance music. It was long before jazz was some kind of dance music before.
Okay.
So he was there. And my brother is also a musician, a teacher here in the same place as me. And then I go to gymnasium, music gymnasium. And high school maybe is the name. And I was studying classical percussion. I started to teach very early. Then I got a conservatory in Sweden. And
you went to Arvika?
Yes, in Ingesund. It was
into the wide forest of Sweden.
It was the wide forest of Sweden, very much.
But a lot of teachers in Sweden come from Ingesund, Arvika, because it's a big metropole for teaching.
Yeah.
And it still is, like for years and years, everyone goes there, and it's kind of a place where all the old great musicians go to chill, They go there to chill when they're older, and then they teach in the conservatorium and make really good teachers.
Yeah.
It's my experience.
Yeah.
I also went there.
Oh, yes. I think they are very skilled on strings.
But there you studied to be a drum teacher.
Yeah.
Did you discover conducting there as well?
Yeah, I did some conducting lessons, and then I have practice on different amateur orchestras, and I freelance as a conductor, as a percussionist in different professional orchestras. In the same time, I'm teaching and playing with bands, and then I somehow start to conducting, and
maybe it's quite natural as a drummer because you are kind of the rhythm.
Yeah. That's my best skill to keep it together, I think. So it was some natural things, and I always, as a percussionist, check the conductors very much, how they did it, and this kind of stuff. And then I changed role and start to work more as a conductor. But I've been teacher for a long while. I have been boss at music school for 10 years, and it was a very, very good time. But it was fantastic, and it comes but again. But I got so much request as a conductor, and I have small kids back in the days, so I decided to stay as a music boss at school. In fact, it was this school or this house, part of this house for the teachers. But after a while, when I got so much request, I dropped it and go back to conducting and start with that and teach.
I remember a lot of people, when you were boss here at the school, they're like, why is he the boss? He should be out playing. They were a bit complaining because they didn't see you enough, and they were always like, no, Ulf shouldn't be the boss, actually. He should be out with the orchestra and playing all the time. But I mean, it's always a challenge as a musician when you have a family, because you have to prioritize what is best for the family also, because marriage, as you say, is giving and taking, and it has to be a win-win, and you cannot always torment your partner. Like myself, I torment my partner sometimes with a lot of things because I'm a musician, and at some times you have to consider the price, and there is always time later. The children grow, and so there is always solution. But do you have any advice as a boss for a music school? Do you have any tips, like don'ts and do's? Yes, it's hard to be a boss in the music school because there is a lot of parameters that needs to click together to be working properly. Yeah. And teachers, and it's a lot of people.
I don't know. I think like this. I will not go back and do it again.
Okay.
I liked it, but it makes me growing as a leader. It was a fantastic time because back in these days we built this house. It was one of the work to do this, to get heat from another house that was not for right purpose we were in, and now we have a fantastic house. So it was a good time, but I don't want to do it again because it's very big.
With responsibility, it's messy because you have the logistic.
And
deciding how the room should look like.
And it's not so much music into it; it's much other stuff. But it was a fantastic time. I learned a lot. It was, and most of everything I very much use of it now as a leader, as a conductor, in everything. So it was a good time, and we did a good work together. It was fantastic. But now I want to do things by myself.
It's a lot of politics also, having a culture school. Here in Sweden, it's founded by the government or it's only small fees from the actual parents. And you can always get even more funding if you have less money as a family to have your kids in music school. Because the Swedish society is built so everyone should have the opportunity actually to play.
It's very good.
It's not the aristocratic education, it's for everyone actually. Which is really great. But that means also that you have a lot of responsibility because you have to always show where the money are going because it's tax money combined with other money. So it's not easy because you have to combine what a person culturally are after and to create art, but also in the same way be able to show what you actually used it for. And it's a lot of politics. It's just my imagination of it. And then it's also bureaucracy together with
it's a lot of stuff. We are very happy here because the politicians was supporting very good and built this house because we see now that it makes big sense in the society. It's very important for the town. But
perhaps the youth people maybe keep it on track in school and people are activated as young people. Or what is the benefits that you see from having a
Swedish system?
Swedish system and a big school like this, a big culture school.
But it's involving everybody. We want everybody to be here, and we want everybody to find something that will develop their life and be a better person and have use of it the rest of our life. We will want to give the opportunity to if you want to be a musician, actor, dancer, movie maker, or theater, whatever you want we want to give them the skills to work later as professionals. And if you don't want that, you should have fun with what you have learned. And maybe if you speak about instruments, for example, maybe you play here just for fun, but in your grown-up life you can work in a bank, but you can have very fun with your flute or your guitar anyhow and play at home or play with your children or play with other people just for fun. We just want people to get a better life, and with the culture it makes difference to people.
And also, even if you don't become a musician, there's like if you look at the doctors in the doctor school, all of them play piano or violin because they learn a skill. They learn how to teach themselves something because it's a skill that you learn yourself how to learn things and also how to socialize and be with other people. So
many doctors plays too good. I think they are even. They are.
Stop going to doctor school.
They are good on many things. Some of them are playing better than anybody else who work as doctors.
But maybe
not everybody, but
it's because they want money.
Maybe.
They don't want to suffer artists. So then, after school, you graduated from Arvika. You took a job in the Trollhättan Culture School as a music teacher.
I think I was in a lot of school before that. I was in Vänersborg and some smaller town. I was in Mellerud back in the days before
also,
your
my hometown.
And some smaller cities also. And then I went here. I think I've been here since 18 years. I've been here.
Yeah, and professional conductor you've been doing for 21 or 22 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I saw that you had like 20 jubileum. Anniversary, and then you did a lecture about being a conductor. I'm really curious because I wasn't there, unfortunately, because I was living in the Netherlands. But what did you do a lecture about?
I think it comes some 100 people, and check this. It was amazing. So much people come. I speak about leadership. I speak about my travelings. I speak about how to connect with people. So it was not just about how to conducting. It was my life as a professional conductor, and people were interested about that. I also speak about how it was to travel to Siberia and work there. And
it's very different from here.
Yeah, it's very different, and it was minus 40 degrees when we were there.
But everything is in Russian. When you're in Russia, like, can you read Russian, or how do you?
No, I understand Russian, but I'm not perfect on it. But I also Did you learn Russian? Did you learn Russian before you went there? Or No. It's the same time that I'm there somehow. Yeah, okay. And when you live with Russian people for 1 month, you need to. Yeah. And sometimes when you come out in the small cities, they don't understand, and it's totally strange to connect. And you don't have Wi-Fi, so you can't Google Translate. But somehow it worked. But it's it's interesting. It's funny, but I think it's so much stories behind that's interesting to speak about. Yeah, and that was what I did back in the days.
And like, it looks very amazing, like when you see all the photos of people traveling, but actually it's quite exhausting. At least, I mean, for me, I'm a cellist, so every time I have to pass the pass control, it's like I'm a terrorist. I'm going through the whole terror control with my cello, and the fight with the flight company.
Yeah.
And I have to book an extra seat for Mr. Cello, and then you have to call the company and say it's not a person, it's an instrument. How is it for you? I mean, you don't have a cello with you, but
lots of stuff I have with me, but not cello.
No.
But lots of bags. But no, nowadays I'm so used to it. But I hate to fly. Not to fly, it's not a problem. But I hate airports. Really, each time, it eats energy. It takes so long time, but you need to do it. Yeah.
You are working soon. You're gonna have a sponsorship by Greta Thunberg, and you're gonna
I go by boat. No, but it's it would be good with that. Of course, I try to connect as good as possible, but sometimes it's only in some ways it's only the flights that's possible if you need to be in time.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, it's impossible to fly that distance, and. I mean,
but the problem
Siberia and stuff like this, it's almost impossible to go there by plane.
But we were going by train also in Russia. It was very interesting.
The Russian Express.
Yeah. The Express was good, but the slow one was slow. But we tried different. Sometimes bus and different stuff.
But how did it start with Russia? Like, how did they find you?
It's very funny. It's a very funny thing because I worked a lot with Robert Wells, one really famous and fantastic piano player. And he called me and asked if I can join him to Moscow because he wants me there. We work a lot together, and it's much more easy to speak with you when we instruct a musician and a Russian conductor. And I was very, very happy that he called me. And after that, I think we did. And we did a concert together with a very famous Russian piano player, Dmitry Malikov. We did 2 concerts in Moscow, and after the first concert, the boss for the symphony orchestra, Gayane, she came with a card to me and say, "I really want us to keep connection. I want to start work with you." It was how it was happening. So it was, I just go over and did the work with Robert, and I think it's good to show myself, but I didn't know anything if it would be something more, but she wants directly, and then we start to speak by email and phone, and then it's got more and more, and now I'm principal guest conductor for Russian Philharmonic Orchestra.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And with the other work, everything is by coincidence, or maybe it should of course happen. But after the second concert with Dmitry Malikov, it was his birthday concert, 45. It was 7,500 people in the audience. After that concert, it was a journalist there, and the day after the concert, I was sitting in the hotel lobby and just check Facebook or something, and suddenly it comes a message on Messenger and say, "Hello, I'm a journalist. I was on the concert yesterday. It was fantastic. You did a great work. By the way, I'm also the press manager for ARIA, one of the biggest heavy metal band in Russia. By the way, and the orchestra and the band have 25 years jubilee, and for 25 years ago they did a symphony concert with the band, and now the conductor have sadly passed away, and we need a new one with lots of spirit and energy, and can you have a meeting? Yeah, of course. 2 hours later, the promoter for the band was in the hotel lobby with the journalist, and we have a meeting, and they say in Russian, I didn't understand when they speak between them, but it's we should get this guy, and somehow I agree with it, and then it was next thing happening, and yeah, so we did tour for 2 years, 2 months every year, 1 month every year, so it just happened.
You were very approachable. Maybe they felt like they could talk to you.
Yeah. And I feel directly when I met them the first time that I was one of the members in the band. Yeah. It was very good. And then I done another thing with the biggest DJ in Russia. It was also by some coincidence, DJ Smash. He's so big. He played for 400,000 people in the same time in China.
Yeah, they love DJs in the Netherlands.
So they do that.
They love electronic music, they're crazy about it.
So Netherlands is the next place we will do something together, I think.
Yeah, DJs.
Yeah.
But, you are perfect in the way that you're a conductor that actually knows how to play other music than only classical music. Because you're very broad in genres, and you don't really say no to any challenge, because most people would shit their pants if someone said, do you want to go to Russia? You don't speak a word Russian and just go to a place and play with professional orchestra, because, I don't know, Russian can be scary because they are very skilled and they have a reputation of being very, very good. So, of course, you have to have some guts, but also you are the perfect man for it because you know all the different genres. And there's not a lot of conductors that can say that they can conduct all of those genres.
No, that's true.
And what I'm hearing, something that started like a mission to inspire young kids in the music school, actually, with the Sundal Rock Orchestra, to make them practice, including myself. And it worked, by the way. And working with different artists to becoming like the artist wanting to work with you, actually. Because from the beginning, you said that you also had to try to get them there. Yeah. And I remember that we were you told that you were negotiating with the money. For example, Danny was a guy from the Idol in Sweden, and he was so expensive, and all the kids in the orchestra wanted him to come because, of course, you were starstruck by his Idol performance, and you were like, oh yeah, he's so expensive, I really have to take him down. We were always so happy when you came and said, oh, we have Peter Jöback, we have E-Type, and Elena Paparizou you also played with, International Star, and Loreen, who won the Eurovision, by the way, Swedish winner there. But it's really, I always believe that if you have a bigger mission with what you do, to do something good for more people than yourself, you will end up in a good career sort of way, because it started with something that was not selfish. You didn't start out being, I want to be the biggest rock conductor in the world. It came from somewhere else, that you wanted to give something to students, for example, and then you discover more and more that actually, okay, this is something good, people like this, because you have always a lot of audience. There was never a seat empty on the concert that we played in a very small town with a very little orchestra with no money at all. So it was very popular, and you're really good at making music programs that both the musician likes and the audience. And that is something unique, because you are working with also popular music, and sometimes you lose the musicians when you do that, and sometimes you lose the audience when you do difficult things with the music. So what's your trick there in building programs? Because you did ABBA program, you did Elvis program, you did Ted Gärdestad program, you did the Best of Sweden hit program, you did so many programs, and they all are very intriguing. Every time I see an Instagram post, I'm like, oh my god, now again, he did it again, another smashing program. So how do you think when you make a music program?
I go on feelings mostly. I just go on feelings. When I have a concert, I standing and thinking of other things. I think, what should I do next? Sometimes I go just on feelings, everything nearly. I speak also to people a lot on the concert. That's also the main thing. In the break, I don't go to my conductor room. I go to the audience, listen to them, what they think. get their energy. Because in the first set, I may be some little nervous. How is it? I see that people start to dancing nearly or clapping hands or are happy, but sometimes, oh, how is this? Was it like that? And when I get out to audience, it's amazing, and it's also, I feel what they like, and then I need to like it by myself, of course, also. But it's mostly comes direct. It's hard to describe because I going and thinking a lot, and then I go for one thing. So it's much emotion in it.
There's a big risk because a lot of the music that you have been playing and did play from the beginning was not written for a symphony orchestra from the beginning. So everything had to be arranged.
Yeah.
Because I remember that we had like 5 different guys writing arrangements for us.
Yeah.
Some were better than others. And it was really like a lot of work, and just to make a person sit there and write maybe 45 different parts, it's quite a lot of work. So it's not like you can gamble with the program, because if it wouldn't work out, you wouldn't sell the tickets, there would be a problem.
It's a really big problem.
So you did a lot of risk taking.
Yeah, I take risks all the time, every time, and sometimes it's too much risks. But I think it's my personality, and I'm so old, so maybe it's hard to change that. But maybe that's also part of the success. I have my own orchestra, Sweden Symphony Orchestra. Sweden Symphony Orchestra, and that's a freelance orchestra. So of course it's a big and it's a gamble every time, because you need to sell tickets to get everything go around. But I think I have a good nose for this somehow. But you never know; it can change very fast, and you need always to be what's that? Humble, thank you. In this.
So what channels do you use when you sell the concert? Because you use social media, I see, the Facebook and Instagram.
What you said?
What channels do you use to sell a concert? Because you are in your summer house on the west coast here, or the best coast, I guess. And then
best
you're
coast.
Thinking about a program, and then you get an idea that you want to go for an ABBA concert, maybe. You pick the songs that you think are good songs for ABBA performance. And then what do? Where do you go? Where do you start? Because I think it's hard for people to start.
This is a little secret. I can't tell everything because it's part of the success. I don't know. I'm kidding. But I'm just thinking about how I want to do it. It's a lots of pain in that. I have lots of pain that you can't see maybe before I decide.
Yeah.
It's a lots of struggle inside myself. Is this good enough? Will it work? Will it not work? Have I... it's 2 parts. I need to say that. It's easy part. It's not easy, but when you go to symphony orchestra and just conducting, somebody pay me money for doing it, and that's mostly what I do. But when I have my own symphony orchestra, it's so much more. Needs to be. I need to think what is the cost for that the artist, venue. I have people that work with me in my team, of course. So I'm not by myself in this. But you need to think about lots of parameters. Will this work? Will it come enough with money? What is the break even? Will people be happy to hear this hits, or should it be other hits? How should it be? Which artists should I mix?
Because for your 50th anniversary, when you had your 50th birthday, you had a lot of artists. I was like, oh my god, so many. How can you pay all of them?
No, it was expensive, but of course I work with them a lot, so they support me also, and some of them wanted to come, so everybody wants to come, I hope. But of course we can deal a little about that, and they support me, and I do other gigs with them, so it's
who is in your team then? In the Wadenbrandt team?
I have my family. It's Ida and Lina. They are the skilled violin players.
Representative.
And they will also start working more and more with me. It's my wife, Eva. It's Åsa that works in Sweden with me, and also play in Sweden Symphony Orchestra and logistics in Sweden. And I have in Russia Natalia. They work with all the marketing stuff. She works with Russia things, and also other countries when it's about brand stuff. So they
help you, they support you. So you come with the idea to them, and then they kind of give you feedback on the idea, on what to do and how to sell it, and then they help you with the...
mostly I take all decisions by myself, because everybody listen. I ask them. I ask them what you think, and then I think a little, come back, and then in the end of the day, if they say something else, maybe I go another way anyhow. But it's good to have this support, and often we have the same.
Yeah.
But I ask, for example, Eva, what do you think about that? Or and then I got one answer. And when I mix everything, it will be a good combination with all these fantastic people around.
So surround yourself by a good team is one advice that we can take with us.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and you go need in the end of the day, you need to go by your stomach feeling.
Yeah. But it's also nice to have a team so you don't have to do every single little thing yourself, like every single little administrative thing, every small thing. I mean, I take a lot of help from my boyfriend because he's really good at booking flights, for example, because it's part of his job. So I say, I want to go there at that time. Can you find something nice?
Can you give me his number, right?
So, yeah. He's an air traffic controller. So he can also make sure that my plane goes before the other planes.
Perfect combination.
Yeah, honey, we are in a hurry. Yeah, anyway, it's good with the team.
Yeah.
And also, I thought part of your success is like when you play with a lot of people, you also get a lot of information spread very quickly. Like you have a lot of orchestras that you've been playing for years, so they are kind of your orchestra members, but they also, I guess, they are also sometimes your audience. Like, oh, Ulf is doing something, so we go and have a look. Like you played with the Uddevalla's city corps or like wind band for a lot of years, and then you have the uniform. And doing something completely different. So you do a lot of different genres, and you also do a lot of works with different people, so you connect with them, like you say.
Yeah.
So maybe a good advice would be to be a yes sayer, and because you say yes to things and you do it, so you get a lot of contacts. And that brings a lot of things back because you also give a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that there's key to everything is what my father says. My father always said that to us children, give things to people and you will get things back.
Yeah, and you also
and it will also build yourself. When you give things to others, you also raise yourself, and it's not egoistic. It's just
because I mean you booked in a lot of audience, Swedish artists, like very famous one pop artists. I think you almost played with all the pop artists in Sweden.
Yeah.
I mean there's a few that are not on the list, and that brought a lot of energy to your students in the music school. But they also brought work for them, and they came more than once, some of them. So it was like a win-win situation all the time.
Yeah.
And then when you ask them another time, maybe, or you say, could you come again? They will say, I know that guy because last time it was a nice experience.
It's trust. It's about trust. You trust. And we have done this a lots of time. They know that, okay, this guy, because it can be different orchestras. It's not just me as a guy, it's the orchestra is good. But if it's different orchestras work with, we worked with him before, it worked well, and it will work well this time also. So it's trustability, and I think
because you come back to them a lot.
Yeah.
The Sweden tourney.
Yeah, but about which channel I used, you asked me earlier.
Yeah.
It's mostly social network.
Yeah.
Near everything nowadays. But it's very important to have good relation with journalists.
Yeah.
A natural connection with journalists, and just say, hello, I have this stuff going now. Is it something interesting for you? Do you want to meet the orchestra? Do you want to meet the soloist? Do you want to speak to me as a conductor or a combination? That's very important to send information or to call. Just call. Hello, I'm in the city now. Like last week we did with Borås. They fixed these interviews for us, but I did some interviews and some interviews, two radios and one paper. But it's just, hello, I'm here. If you want something, if you want to speak to me about the program. Yeah. Most of the people don't do that. No. They come to city and they expect that somebody should write something if you're big. Yeah. But if you are in the middle or where you are, just take contact. Say, hello, I'm here. We're doing this program. It would be fantastic. We are interested to write something. Yeah. I'm available these days. And often they say, yeah, great. Yeah. And then next time you come to that city, you have a relation with that journalist, and I'm back again. Them, yeah. And next time maybe they call directly. Or it's. I learn a lot. I learn a lot about this on all these years. And it's so much music everywhere, because now people don't earn any money on selling CDs or LPs or music. So everybody needs to do concerts every time, and it's very hard competition of audience. So you need these channels is very very, very important. It should be natural. Just ask, say hello, I'm here if you want something. And I always work now with some secrets. I always work with photos.
Yeah.
I always have photos for every concert nearly. Try to take it so I have material to send. Because every people wants to have fast things.
Yeah.
They want to have delivered things, not a photo that maybe is wrong size.
Yeah.
It's much work. But if you have things that are ready and texts, good CV or good, then it's easier to do an interview. You have a material that is working. So try to fix things.
Yeah.
And then it will be much more easy.
To be available and.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you about talking to media, because it's quite a skill that not every musician possesses, actually, because it is hard sometimes to talk in media, and you go live in the radio. So what tips do you have for us to talk with media?
I love it.
Yeah,
I like it very much. Mostly, be yourself, be open-minded, be friendly, have a good material, be prepared. Say, I can also take my violin with me to the studio and play something if it's online. Like we did this last Monday, violin, and I play on a box. But practice to speak by yourself or speak to somebody, and make it easy. People want to hear not easy stuff, but keep the subject, but go also in other direction and try to have it's very hard, but interesting speaking. And of course it can be very tense to interview or this kind of stuff. I can go to myself. When I go to it's called gymnasium in Sweden, is it? High school. I was nervous. I couldn't open the mouth nearly. I started to music gymnasium or high school, and I was from a very little city, and I was not good on speaking, and all the guys was better playing than me and was better and more skilled to speak. So I was very, very shy. But all these years with students, all this year with musicians, all this year with artists, all this year with paper and this kind of stuff, now it's very natural.
But also, do you think that you said that you always go out to the audience after the concert? This kind of practice? Because they also ask you questions. They're not journalists, all of them, I hope. But then it's like you practice on the audience, because you have to explain what you are doing for every person in the audience, and not all of them are musicians. So you kind of have to keep it simple. You cannot go away with music terms. Yeah. But it's a good exercise, actually. It's
a very good exercise. And then you need also to think when you speak to lawyer. Maybe you need a lawyer after the speaking with a journalist. No, but you of course need to think what you need to say and be prepared. You can't just go out in the air, but it's I think just to have fun. That was why I started with music. And practice speaking. And I think we need to change that musicians don't need to speak to journalists or this kind of thing. We get work anyhow, but this is part of my work to do this.
And I wanted to ask,
and it's so much good musicians, conductors everywhere, in every city, everywhere. You need to be different, otherwise why should you choose me? You need to be best, of course, in what you're doing, but it's always 100 that are as good as you, so you need to also have another skills.
And I think, I have a trick that I use. Maybe I learned it from you, but I don't know. But if people know you, they will be more faithful to you as an audience, because they don't want to listen to cello Petronella. They don't want to hear Bach cello suites when they go to a concert, or hearing the song Visa från Utemyra. They want to hear Petronella play the Bach suites. They want to hear Petronella sing it, because if they just want to hear the music, they will put on Spotify. But if they actually want an experience with a person, they will go to a concert. So what I'm selling is me playing Bach. It's not Bach as a performer, like Bach music. It's more me playing, because everyone plays Bach. So how will I make them go to my concert? Is if they know me and they are coming to see me, which sounds like super narcissistic, but actually it's also a connection with the audience. You are more likely to go to see someone that you know a little bit. And if you look at big bands in the pop industry, they have big fan groups because they know the band. They know what their names are. They know what makeup they wear, what clothes they are wearing, and they know the whole concept behind them. And they will also forgive you more. that's why I talk in concerts. I always present because I get a bit nervous. But then I feel like if they know that I'm actually a person, they will forgive me if I do a mistake. Because I'm more human then. But why should they forgive someone they don't know?
I think it's. Sorry if I.
It helps me calm down.
I think you're extremely perfect in what way I'm thinking what you said right now, because that's interesting, and it's not egocentric. It's you are interesting, and that's why I want to go listen, because I know that you're a good musician, and I maybe not interesting. That's the dream in my case. If I want to go and listen to you when you come to my city, because I know that you good player, you're an interesting person. I don't care what program you go do, because it will be good. Yeah. And if you have that trust, that's my dream, and it's not to be so. I will not say that I'm perfect on this, and I'm very ödmjuk. What's that? Humble to the audience, and it can change in one day. You need to. This is something you need to grow.
By time.
Yeah. So you shouldn't take anything for granted. But the dream is to, when you come to the city and play cello, we go to see you because it's something interesting, and I know that you have done a good package and a good program that I will be very interested in. Yeah, and I don't care if it's Bach or it's what it is, because it will be perfect. Yeah, exactly. And this is because it's about trust. Yeah. It's about trust and about interesting. So that's the dream, I think, not to what pieces, or it can be that also, but it was a very good
It's hard to be unique, yeah.
But and some people think I'm wrong, and for them I'm wrong, and that's why we are different. Yeah. And I'm happy that everybody is not like me. No. If everybody was like me, I have 1,000 copies or originals, and why should they go listen to me? Yeah. So I'm happy that we are very different. So I will not tell you anything more on this. I'm kidding.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your fans, because you have some crazy fans and you have some amazing, faithful fans. I know that they give you gifts, flowers, chocolate. They even gave you a Muppet. I don't know if it's Ernie or Bernie, but you have a Muppet.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, why did they give you a Muppet? Because there is like a Muppet who is the Swedish cook, chef, not cook, chef. Sorry,
yeah.
Correction.
But it's this Bernie and
Ernie.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one you have, if it's Ernie or Bernie.
Bernie. I think Muppet. It's Bernie.
Muppet, yeah, Bernie.
He travels with me in the bag nowadays also.
Is this a story why they gave you that?
No, it's not so much story. Maybe I've written somewhere that I like this on some old post, and I just get it. It wasn't in Russia, and I get it. I like these two guys, and by coincidence I got one of them, so it was funny.
But Russians are really good with gifts, huh?
What?
Russians are really good with gifts.
Yeah, it's much better than Sweden. It's very much better than Sweden. No, I'm kidding. It's fantastic in Sweden. I love your audience, but they are the Russians are very much with flowers, with gifts and this kind of stuff. And the thing is, I have much more younger audience in Russia than in Sweden. So I love every fans in this case. But the Russians are a little differently. And I think also because I play with pop stars here also a lot, but there are really big heavy metal bands. They have crazy audience. Yeah. It's fence, kravallstaket, I don't know.
It's Kraval fences.
Yeah, thank you for helping me. The first time I was getting there, I didn't know that I was on a concert. ARIA, this band, had 2 days concert. They have their own festival, and second day they should play with symphony orchestra. And I was there on the first day, and I was in t-shirt, and it's lots of people there. Oh, sorry for my language. I go out in the audience and just check, because I'm private. No one knows me. I was nearly killed. Wow. They start to come first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 50%, and I was going to the floor because it was so much people, and they have read everything about me, and they have cards with me, they have done paintings with me. It was totally.
You have calendars with your face.
Calendar. It's it was a calendar with as a conductor.
And the keyrings.
Keyrings. It was lots of stuff. So it's fantastic, and I'm happy. It was when I was a little older that this kind of stuff comes, because I think it's just funny. It's very cool, but
also scary.
It's also scary that I'm happy that I can just take a plane and go to another place. It's a difference, and it's just home and cutting the grass on the
going to ICA.
ICA. Yes, cool.
But also some guy who was like giving you his cello, and you cello.
In the orchestra I did the autograph back on the cello, and he's professional player. What the fuck are you doing? It's beep. But I did it, of course. I signed it, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I must say I love all musicians I work with.
But it's quite a big, compliment when the musician.
Yeah. You know it, and I have contact with these guys.
But it was funny because I have Russian friends that I met in master classes, and one day I see you in the same pictures as them, and I'm like, what is this?
Was it so?
Yeah, like I have a friend. Her name is Anastasia. Anastasia, she's a very beautiful cellist with long hair.
Blonde?
Blonde. Yeah, like blonde-ish. Yeah, she's blonde, but not like super blonde. Yeah. And she was like in a photo with you, and I was like, what? What is she doing there? And I was like, oh, no, it's Ulf, he's in Russia. And I was like, it felt surrealistic for me because it was two people from two different worlds in my mind that was connected, and they were really starstruck. And I was like, he taught me when I was 30. I was quite proud. I felt a little bit, I was like, yeah, I know him. Yeah. It's cool, but they are really, really cool. I mean, it's a big to sign the cello. I didn't bring my cello, but
no,
next time.
Next time. No, but I really love to work with all musicians. It's fantastic, and I must say, very much Russian musicians is how they are. I really love many of them because they are so versatile, they are so skilled, they are so open-minded, many of them, to play all music, and they work so extremely hard, and they are so skilled. Many of the strings, they are so, and all instruments. So I'm also happy also because if we speak about politics and this kind of stuff over the world, we have some tense in the world, but you know, the first time I come to Russia, I thought I was bugged by KGB, and you know, I was how we speak in Sweden about Russia, and I don't want to speak about politics now.
The Swedish army is always the Russians are coming.
Yeah, they are here. The flight is here. I don't know anything about that, and I don't want to go into politics, and I don't say something is right or wrong here. And of course, in different positions everywhere in the world, we see that things should be changed, also in Sweden and in different. So I don't go into politics here because I speak about people, and it's fantastic people in Russia. And I also think, like the Swedish ambassador says in Moscow, that Ulf, I think this is great what you're doing because it's also make the culture work between the countries working, and we see that between people, we are people everywhere. And I also work at a music school there. And with small kids and with a very good music school, I was and do some master class also, and it's fantastic. And this school was also here, the Richter School, one of the most famous piano player in the world, Russian, fantastic Richter. He has his own school there, and I was there working. He's not living now, but and they was here in Trollhättan. We had the exchange. So this is also part of my goal here, to make us closer. The world is open up with all this.
Experience new cultures.
Yeah. So that's what something that I want to give back. Also, when I'm out working in different places, to give back to the school I work in.
Yeah, I think that's really great, and I think you're succeeding well with it.
I try.
I had some more juicy questions. So the other thing, like we've been talking a lot about work. But how do you deal with like stress? Because it has its good parts, but it is stressful to stand in front of so many people and do it in such a short time. You said that you were changing orchestra almost every second day. How do you deal with the nerves, with the stress, with the pressure? Because there is a lot of pressure. What do you do? What's your trick? How do you survive?
Survive? I don't know. Sometimes you get so used to things, so you just go into it. I'm always prepared. But sometimes I'm open up things to not finish because I want that little tense in the air when I do the concert. Yeah. But I don't know. This is a hard subject. I just want to go to the next because I am, of course, stressed very often. And I have extremely high tempo. I'm stressed very often. To be honestly, it's a stressful thing to have everything in the head. And like yesterday, I wake up and I got the message. I have interview yesterday, and I written wrong time. So the journalist, are you coming? And I thought I have a little longer morning so I can sleep. But then I see that I have written wrong in the calendar and I should be there 2 hours earlier. And then we fixed it and I was fast. And I was thankful that she could change. But this is a little stress. You always, you need to have the current calendar very correct all the time, to have a good schedule. And I have good people that helping me with this, home, at work. Otherwise, it will not work. So the best tips, I'm not stress-free. I have it. But the best tips is to try to do good schedules.
Okay.
That's the best thing to keep stress away, and try to learn other people. Maybe to don't go in the traps that I'm going to.
So prepare good schedules, and what kind of, do you write your schedule in an agenda, or do you have it in your phone? Or
phone,
yeah.
And now I go back to paper also.
Yeah.
So I do both, double. And then I try to, what I should do in the day, to write on a paper.
Do you check it the day before, what you're going to do next one?
Yeah, often. But unfortunately, I'm a little guy that is live without a net, if you understand.
Yeah.
No security.
Yeah.
I jump sometimes, and you don't know if it will work or not.
Yeah, I was a bit curious. I was like, I wonder if you forgot that we were going to have this interview.
Yeah. And I'm waiting a long time to see if I thought it was last Friday, to be honestly, but then I see, no, it couldn't be because I'm in Borås this week, so it should be this week.
But then I always write, I am meeting a lot of musicians, and a lot of them I have to
remind.
I kind of know before. I have this feeling. So I always try to send them something before to check up with them.
Yeah.
But I have been stood up one time by one cellist. I won't say who, but he knows who he is. But I was kind of expecting it. But actually he got back pain, so he couldn't come.
Swedish?
He's Danish.
Okay.
It was one of my teachers. But anyway, he's a wonderful man, and you cannot help if you get sick, and luckily I can come back to Sweden, so it's no problem. But it is common by musicians, actually, so you're not alone.
No.
Oh, definitely not.
It's good.
And it happens a lot, and we have to remind each other and stuff like this. But it is a stress thing, and I think it's also when you are creative, you kind of have to be living in the now in order to be creative. And then it's very hard to always plan ahead. And I have this problem, not problems, but challenges with other people in my close environment, that I don't want to plan in ahead, but they really like to plan ahead. But I need to be here and now, and I have to feel what I want to do now, which can be super annoying. But I do also plan my life, of course, otherwise I will not do anything. And sometimes I just have to decide that now I want to do this, but also some things doesn't require creativity, like paying your bills and sending invoices. You can do that without creativity. But it's a lot of, that's why I asked it, because I'm searching for good tips about, because I think we are struggling a lot with it. Yeah,
and we don't speak about it. Maybe also you have to keep it inside. But I am also not. I always pushing things forward.
Yeah.
I do it tomorrow. I do it tomorrow.
But do you do it because you like the deadline feeling that is on edge, or do you do it because
combination?
Like, would you like to be planned actually? Because some people I experience that they don't really. They love the deadline feeling, that they are on edge so much. That's why they don't plan ahead, because they actually don't. They like too much the hot spot, you know?
Yeah, I think it's the same for me, but also a little. Sometimes I regret that I have not done it. It's a combination, but I like this because it's a little thrilling when challenged to make it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you think, I should have.
11:59 feeling.
It's like when you're back in the schools. I didn't like the school so much, some subjects. I just practiced too long in the evening with music, studying percussion. And then I come home maybe at 12 in the night and, tomorrow it's biologic or Swedish or something I should have read. And I read 5 minutes and just fell to sleep. And in the morning, I wake up with the book in the bed and...
Oopsie.
Night. And some people are very... structured. I don't know. Maybe.
It's good that you are creative then, because you can find a solution on the spot.
Yeah. And I learned a lot about people that improvise. And I think it's back in school. I have one guy. He was so skilled. So when they should they read a book, and then after that you should speak about the book in the classroom. And he just read the back side, and then he just speak around that. Yeah. And he passed the test. And I have read the book, and I couldn't speak in front of people. And I think I must learn this. I need to learn to speak, because he was very good on that, and he can speak about whatever. And it works. But of course, it's good if you want to know what you speak about.
That's I think it's nice to look at other people and see what they are doing good and try to imitate them. Yeah. And trying to steal their not steal, but ask them for help. Yeah. Like that's also what I want with this podcast. I see someone who's doing something good, and I go to ask them, like, how do you do that? Can you give me some of your best tips? Like that's what I'm after, and also if I can share it and help someone else, I think it's great. But I know, because I read the newspaper, that you also, to stress down, you go to your summer house, if you still have it, on the West Coast, and you do nothing.
We have
vacation is
my parents' house is that we kids nowadays share it. So that's perfect in the summer when you have time to go there and just relax. Go out in the forest and think about, because somehow I think every people feel this. Suddenly you feel like when you were 12 walking there in the forest and remember everything that you did as a kid. You go fishing or you did things, and then you want to stay there, because when you were 16 you want to leave because it's boring home, and now you just want to get back to the forest, to the calm place, and just don't think about things that make you pressed or it's pressure. So this kind of place for me is very important, and it's with family, of course, and then or people you love to be with. In general, so that helps a lot for me to keep the faith, and there also that I got new ideas what I should do the next season.
Yeah, when you are resting, I mean, for me, all my greatest ideas comes when I am on holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I have so much. It's like my head is opening up it has time to breathe, and it's like, oh, let's do this. I also have a listener question from Stefan Scherbling, my old teacher.
Oops.
Oh.
Oops.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. He says, are you still eating LCHF?
Yeah. Yes, that's a very main question. I eat LCHF. It's fantastic for me. Whole my family, or my wife and me eats it, and my daughters also start eating it, you can say. At least Ida and Lina also nearly everything.
So tell us what it is for people who
it's no sugar, it's no bread, it's no pasta, it's no potatoes. You take away this thing, I think it's kolhydrater.
Kolhydrats.
Yeah, I think we should have my wife here now, because she's the professional on this. I just do as she say.
You just do the eating.
Yeah, I do the eating. I do what she say in everything nearly. So she's the
conductor behind the conductor.
Yeah. She's the real boss. I mean, but it's take away this kind of stuff that is not good for the body. I got some problems with my hands back in the days. So.
You were feeling like pain in the muscles?
I got some kind of
inflammation or
inflammation.
Arthros?
Yeah, I got some kind of inflammation, and it was hard. And then my sister, she's a journalist, and she checked and things, and she find this LCHF and sent to me and my wife. And then my wife, she's like, she's not a military, but when she decides something, she go all in. Yeah. So we start with this thing. I lost a lot of kilos and clean up my body a lot, and the pain was going away.
Yeah.
So of course I stand to this kind of eating then, and it's very good for me. It's not about I lost about lots of kilos. Yes, of course I lost 10 or 15 kilos. That was important because it was not so heavy to my knees and this kind of stuff. But it's not about how I'm looking, it's about how I'm feeling. So it's I go on with this for whole my life.
Yeah, because it is a lot of, I mean, it's really easy to go down the junk food road when you are traveling as much, and it's a lot of rehearsals, and they always give you sandwiches, especially in Denmark. I mean, they are crazy with the sandwich. Guys, there are other food than sandwich, And they're like sandwich, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna puke if I see another sandwich. And, I mean, I got so actually I'm also eating it, but I call it like low inflammation food because it's I eat more food with like that is anti-inflammatory. So a lot of like garlics and berries and nuts.
Same.
A lot of nuts.
Same here.
So it's really helping me, and I feel like I have more energy. In the beginning, the first 2 months, I was super bad. I felt super bad, and my belly was crashing. Like, wow, it was horrible. But then when I got balanced, I think it was because I was like so toxic with all the carbohydrates and stuff. Then after that, I feel so great, and I'm never sick. I wasn't sick that much before, but now if my boyfriend is down with a cold, because he doesn't eat the same food as me, because he's a bit conservative with what he eats, I mean, I don't get sick, and it's really great, and I really love it. I mean, then of course I cheat and I eat a lot of chocolate and stuff, but I mean, to eat 80% this food for me works perfectly. And of course, if someone is making me a fantastic carbonara, I will eat it once, but I mean, my goal is to have 80% this food, and then the rest of the time I can cheat and do what I want. Because I really like it, but it came from a book that I read, a Swedish author called the Hälso Revolution or something. She's also a politician. Oh, she was before she got kicked out. But anyway, so now we know what you eat. But actually, I think we're onto something. But it's also very more than this kind of eating in Sweden.
You have lots of stuff. Sweden, I think, is one of the first countries to work with this, and we have some good doctors working with it. But it's in the beginning that the doctors don't believe it. Other doctors but if you put away sugar and all this stuff, like you said, I'm nearly never cold. I was cold very often before, so it's other good stuff with it. So. Stefan, keep up the good work.
Yeah, he's also eating it.
Yeah.
He is really good at keeping it. Like sometimes I meet him and people offer him cookies and he's like, no, I don't need it.
No.
So wow, it's impressive.
And it's hard sometimes because
I mean we also have the best cookies in the world. I mean, like cinnamon rolls, saffron buns. I mean, I do that kind of stuff still. I'm not fanatic. I'm gonna check one more time so I don't forget anything. Yeah, do you do any sports? That's in the
I'm walking a lot.
Walk a lot, yeah.
Bike.
Up the stairs, maybe also.
Yeah. So that I think that's. I walk maybe half an hour, 40 minutes every day.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think it's but we can always be better. But just to go out in the fresh air and take a walk, it also clean the head.
Especially when you work with so much noise.
Yeah. So that's a good thing for me. And you need to keep the body in good shape because when you're a musician or conductor, whatever, because it's not so wrong positions. Yeah,
unergonomic positions.
Yeah.
I think it's important as human. Like, I mean, I always try to think that first we are humans and then we play music. So we kind of have to. If the human inside is the music will also become better because it's in symbiosis with each other.
Yeah.
Lastly, I would like you to give a tip. So one tip to a music student who is in the school. So it can be a school like this in Entry, for example, a music school, and then one person in the conservatorium, and then one person who is semi-professional, and one who is professional. So we have 4 tips here. Down.
Oi. Okay, student. Have fun, and try to have fun with the instrument. But you need to practice because somewhere it will stop if you not practice. So you need to practice. But try to have fun when you practice. Do it smart, and smart is different for different people. But you need. Otherwise, it will be no progress. But try to have fun, play funny songs, but also go to technique stuff, but do a mix of this all the time. So you just don't do boring things, because boring things will maybe make that you will stop playing the instrument. But you need also to do boring things. It's a combination. Play with other musicians. That's the most important thing. Do things together. Develop things together. It's much more fun to do things together than by yourself.
Yeah,
I think so. Second, what was that?
Conservatorium.
Conservatory. I don't know. Go your own way is the first thing. don't follow everybody. It's a little strange how I say it, because I say that it's more fun together for the younger. But I think you shouldn't copy other people. If you can copy David Garrett on violin, on some things, and play other stuff. You can take the best things of people, but don't follow the crowd. Please don't do it, because it will be just one more copy. Try to be yourself. Try to not. You must listen to your teacher, but you should go your own way and do some unique things, because that's what I'm looking for. If I search for a conductor and a musician in my team, everybody is good playing, but it should be something more. So try to go yourself, and don't get lost in this kind of, what you call it, ångest, anxiety about this, because it's a lot of that when you're standing in a practice room and listen to other people. Why is that one better? Why I'm good enough? Why blah blah blah? It's a lot of this kind of stuff that makes you down. It's easy for me to say because I've been there by myself, but try to find your own style and believe in yourself. That's the main thing, I think. Believe in yourself, because it will come hard times and it will come good times, like in life. I don't know if it's good, but it's how I'm thinking. The third is
semi-professional.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone who is just maybe graduate conservatorium, have some freelance gig, but it's not yet settled.
You mean work as a doctor or something? Or
No, not yet. Then they have, someone who is just quit studies, like a lot of my colleagues.
In conservatory?
They quit stuff. They are finishing with their degree.
In
they are standing.
they
are applying for all kinds of works. So they are a lot applying for works, like teachers. They are applying for work as musicians.
I think I should try to be open-minded and try to find different works. If you graduated, or if we speak about conservatory students that now have left the conservatory, they should be versatile. In my opinion, that's my opinion. It's not right. It's right for me. Try to be versatile. Try to take different works. Try to also maybe combine, if you like it, just if you like it, combine it with to teach.
Yeah.
Because it's the most funny thing when you see that student growing and you do things together. It's fantastic if you like it, but if you just want to be a musician and hate to have students, you shouldn't have it, because it will not be good for you and it will not be good for the students. But I think it's opening. It's a very open world, and you have lots of possibilities. If you just go to the opera and it's one seat free and it's 500 searching for that place, you should try to get that work, and you can make it, really, if you want. But you shouldn't just get lost in that. If somebody else will get it, the world is opening. You can do lots of other stuff. It's a lots of companies that needs music. It's a lots of schools that needs concerts. It's a lots of things happening out there. I think you should try to make your string quartet possible, or try to get gigs, try to freelance. Yeah. It's a lots of opportunities, but you need to try to see the possibilities. And it's a very hard work, but if you want to be a musician, it's a lots of possibilities.
Yeah, and for a professional, a colleague.
Try to not get bored. It looks silly. I maybe say wrong word, but I mean all you fantastic professional musicians. It's so fantastic, and I'm so happy to work with all of you. What I'm saying is that I don't mean that I see it, but I just say if you stay on the same work for a very long time, you need to always have fun at work, and most of the people can go on to have fun all the time and develop. But if you feel that you just get stuck or it's don't happen or something, maybe move to next orchestra or something, because I think you always need to have fun when you do this, whatever you do. Otherwise it's good with the ordinary work, and everybody wants to have a work, but it should, as a musician, it should always be something extra, I think. But of course, with everybody it's Monday and everybody's Friday, but for me it's very important to meet different people, because it makes me always hungry. So
maybe what you're saying is a little bit that it's not too late to change and develop and to continue growing
in the same work that you have also. But I have one other thing that I maybe want to say, and maybe somebody like it and somebody don't like it, but I'm always better when I'm a little hungry.
Oh yeah.
If you're vad heter det, mätt?
If you are full.
If you are full, you are not hungry.
Yeah.
And if you're not hungry, in my case, I just speak for myself. I don't say that this is right, but for me it's right. When I'm a little hungry, I need to work a little more and need to think of new things to get stuff happening.
Yeah.
New projects that give me money or food, or do you understand?
Yeah.
It's like wolf, when they are hungry, they are hunting better. I don't know. It's my point of view. And if you don't want to eat, you are a little lazy.
Yeah.
So I think of myself, just of myself. I'm working a little better when I'm a little hungry. So I don't want to be full.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of time till I get retired, and I will work even when I get retired. But I always want to be hungry. Stay hungry.
I think that's a really nice. There is also this story, because we talked a little bit of anxiety, and there is a story about there is some Indian tribe or something that says that a human has two wolves inside of you, and one wolf is the good wolf, and the other one is the bad wolf who makes you feel bad and talks about like these inner voices that you have that you cannot do things and so. And then they say which wolf is going to win in the end, and then the answer is the one that you feed. Yeah. So that's
a
nice
true.
story that I heard. Yeah. Because you were talking about hunger and wolves. Yeah. So
we feed the good one.
Yeah, we feed the good one. Why not? I have a little wolf. He's a Västgötaspets, or a Swedish wolfhound. A puppy that I got. He's 7 months old, and he is really. When I train him, I make sure he's a little bit hungry, because then he will take my treats better.
But that's true.
Another trick.
Yeah.
And it works very well, because when he had his dinner and stuff, he doesn't listen that much, because he's like, I already got my food.
No, so it's truth. It's truth.
And I have always high and low value treats. Cheese is very high value treats. So if I have to do something difficult with him, I have high value treats. And when it's not so difficult, things that he already knows, I can use something as something that I buy. It doesn't have to be cheese. It can be like a dog candy that I got from the pet shop. But when I want him to come here, for example, that's a high value, because that's something really important, because I don't want him to run away.
Cool.
Works more or less. Do you have anything more to add?
No, I just want to say that I'm very humble again about that I have the opportunity to do this, and I know that it's hundreds, it's millions, it's thousands of good conductors, musicians everywhere. So I'm just happy to be into this. So it's a big joy for me, and I know that it's so many good people out there. So I'm just happy that I can do what I'm doing. Yeah. And just know that it's like my father said when I was a kid, and to my brother also, Ulf, you need to practice. It's always someone better out there. And that always you need to know that it's always someone that is better, and then you want this hungry wolf you need to practice, but also feel that you need to feel that yesterday I did something good. Also, that's one of my problems sometimes, because I always struggle for next thing. If I did a concert yesterday, it was amazing. I forgot it. To the next one. So I think we need to just slow down and say something on your shoulder. Yeah, you did something good. Yeah, you were good.
I just wanted to, now I have one more question. Actually, it was, what do you do when people say bad things? Because they are bound to be jealous of you, because you have a lot of success and you have a lot of attention drawn to you. What do you do when people are mean?
I think it's a lot of that.
I mean, they are always
I don't hear so much, but I think it's, of course, in everything.
They're always there, because I can also, even though I'm not a big famous musician, there is always someone who is jealous of something.
It's like my father also said, it's always somebody that wants to take your place. I'm not the best one to shake it off me if I hear it, but I don't hear so much about it. But of course it's existing, but I try just to be a nice guy and do my work, and
you try your best.
I try my best, and I say to the other people, do it by yourself or do it in your way. I do it in my way, and I work really hard for this. Yeah. I also heard of people that this is the price. This is not big thing for me because I nearly don't hear much about it. But also it's for people that sometimes it's going well for hear this. This is the price you need to pay to get in the spot. But I think the main thing for me is to do what I'm burning for, what I like to do, and to be friendly to people. Always be friendly to people. And if somebody wants you bad or say bad things about you, I can't do anything about it. I try to stay away from it and don't. I'm happy it's not a big thing. It's not happening a lot, but of course it's happening because I'm a crossover musician, conductor, and of course it's a spot that, what are you doing? You are not a classical, or why do you mix pop? We are pop musician with classical, or what? But I give a shit about it because this is the right way for me, and it's the right way for classical music also, because we need a new audience. So we need to mix, and I of course also do just classical, I do just rock stuff, but this is me. Why should I take away myself? This is my way of working and this is my style. The other person that wants to do something else, do it. Just do it. It's up to you what you do with your life. So I just wish people good luck, and but stay with friends that support you. Then you need to hear the truth sometime also, but try to stay away from people that takes your energy. That's a big chapter you can speak about. People that takes your energy. It's not that I have lots of people, but around me that do that. I have nobody close to me, but of course it's a lot of. This thing can take energy. So stay away from people that eat your energy. That's a good.
It's a really good one. And a hard one. Thank you so much for being in the podcast, Ulf. You've been amazing. I could talk with you for hours and hours, I think. But,
you know, I love this kind of speaking. So
it's nice when you have a little bit more time also to actually dig a little bit deeper. Even though I think it's not enough time ever. But and I know that it's funny for people who are Swedish who is gonna listen to this episode and hearing two people who are Swedish speaking in English. Because it's always embarrassing when you hear your own language with an accent and so we are offering our Swinglish here for you guys.
Yes.
Have mercy. But the Swedish people are also quite proud of our English. So and we are one of the better countries, I believe. So still, I'm not so. I think we will be good off. I hope it was okay being in the podcast. Not too difficult questions, or do you have any tips for the podcast? You do a lot of recordings yourself.
I don't know. I think it's very good questions. It was very nice to be here. Interesting questions. Happy to meet you again and your career and what you have done since we met the first. When you was 13 years. 13, Trinazi is Russian.
Trinazi. You know that it was actually your fault that we ended up here, with the podcast and everything, because I didn't like to play cello before I joined your orchestra. Actually, I hated it, and I just played because my mother thought that I should, and she said that I would become stupid if I didn't. So I played cello and I hated it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I will join the orchestra. I can play with some famous people. That's fun, at least, And then because I think my cousin was in the orchestra playing the trombone. Because he's from Varian. It's Anders. Anders
Jonsson.
Jonsson.
Hello, Anders.
And then I went to your orchestra. I was like, it's quite fun actually. And then I was like, okay, maybe I will just join one more orchestra. And then I kept on climbing, and here we are today. So it's your fault.
Happy to see you and what you're doing now.
So thank you so much for being Monster Music.
Monster